Hey everyone, this is Alysia, also known as AVP0685. Thought I'd do my blog a little bit early this week. I'm going to be kind of busy doing a few things. Tomorrow I'm going to be seeing a former classmate. Wednesday I'm doing a free food distribution. Don't know about the rest of the week, but I thought I'd do my blog early. I already watched my weekly movie. This one was The Borrowers that had Eddie Arnold in it, and basically it's about a kid who discovers that there's these little bitty people. They're about maybe a little bit bigger than this spray can, but they're maybe half the size of this spray can, and they're basically living in his great aunt's clock. It's like a grandfather clock, and there's a husband and a wife, and there's also their little girl, and they all live in this clock, and eventually they have to move out of the clock. That's all I'm going to say. This week, I'm going to talk about what I did in my blog, saying how I feel about remakes of television shows and movies. In case you didn't know, remakes of movies and television shows have been going on for quite some time. I'll show you an example of one that I have right here. This one is a remake of the movie The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And I've seen this movie, and I also have the movie The A.Team movie, which didn't have any of the original actors from the television show as a main role. Dirk Benedict did cameo in it, and Dwight Schultz did cameo in it, but their roles were very, very incidental. And when I see remakes like of this, and television shows, like yesterday was the premiere of the television show Star Trek Discovery. I'm not going to do any hate on it, but I'll just say I wasn't crazy about it. I was very disappointed. As a Star Trek fan, something was very, very off. The spaceship looked cool. Some of the technology looked really, really cool, but I was very, very disappointed. I was like, what am I watching? This doesn't feel right. And then constantly calling a female character by a male name. I'm not saying females can't have male names. They can, absolutely. I've seen that all the time. But to see it on a Star Trek, it just, something felt off. Very, very off. And there's been ones of Cheaper by the Dozen, which I've read the book, and it was a good book. But when you see the movie that has Tom Welling, Steve Martin, Bonnie Hunt, Hilary Duff, all of those actors, and you hadn't read the book, you can sort of get by with watching the movie, because basically the main story is there, that it's a husband and wife and their 12 kids and their misadventures that happen from there. I mean, that's perfectly fine, because the original story was written in the 1900s, and it felt a little bit out of place if you were to do it today, because people go like, 1900s, wasn't that 100 years ago? Yeah, it was over 100 years ago, but you got to redo it, and you got to make it fun. As long as you stick to the main part of the story. I mean, like I said, they stuck to the main part, that it's a husband and wife, 12 kids. There you go. There's also been ones when they've done redones of Rear Window. I never saw the original that had Jimmy Stewart, but I did see the redo with the late Christopher Reeve. The redone was actually really well done. He was in a wheelchair, and it was actually Chris Reeve doing his own stunts where he took himself off the respirator. And Deuce freaks out the culprit at the end somewhat, making him think that he's killed him, which he hasn't, but to scare him. So that was really, really done. Other redos, there's been redones of the Superman story. There have been redos of the Peter Pan story off and on for many, many years. The first one was told in the early 19th century. I mean, not 19th century, sorry, 20th century. The early 1900s, and then it was 1920s, 1940s, 1950s. Every single time you turn around, there's another Peter Pan story. Superman has been redone many, many times. As long as you stick to the main thing, like with Superman, stick to the fact that he's allergic to kryptonite. Stick to the fact that Lex Luthor is his arch nemesis. Don't change something midway and say he's actually from Pluto. Don't change that. We all know he's from Krypton. Don't change that. With the Peter Pan story, you can redo that a little bit. Have a male actor play the part of Peter. You can get by with that. It's little things like that. But with redos like this, the only thing that's the same is the characters' names. When you watch the rest of it, and if you see the television series that had the late Robert Vaughn and it has David McCallum in it and Leo G. Carroll, you're going to be very disappointed. This is not that. If you watch the 18 movie that had Mr. T, George Papard, Dirk Benedict, Dwight Schultz, and the television show, which I loved, my mom loves it, you're going to be disappointed when you see the movie because the redo is just, it doesn't fit. You would think it's going to explain how B.A. meets Hannibal, Faceman, Halaman Murdoch. You're going to want to know that, but when you see the movie, it doesn't fit. This doesn't fit. So, what am I trying to say with all this? Redos can be done right. You can do a redo just right. But you've got to make sure you do your homework. Make sure you stick to the established facts. Like, if I were to do a Batman story, I need to make sure that I always call him Bruce Wayne. I don't call him some other name. If I do a Back to the Future story, I need to make sure I stick to the fact that it's Marty McFly, Doc Brown, Jennifer Parker, the mom, are you there? Is that you scene? You got to stick to certain facts like that. Also, you can't change the car from a DeLorean to, say, a Ferrari. You just can't. The car was a DeLorean. Everyone knows it was a DeLorean. You just can't change that. So, when you do redos like this, which I happen to have right here as an example, make sure you stick to some certain facts. Like, there's been redones of the Star Trek franchise had William Shatner, the late Leonard McCoy. The new ones with Chris Pine and all of them done by J.J. Abrams, which is done good. I'm not dissing those in the least bit. They stuck to the facts, saying this is Spock, this is Bones, this is Spock. They stuck to the basics, and then they built the story from there. If you can do stories like that when you do redos, that's perfectly okay. Just don't change something that's already been established into the storyline. That's my biggest pet peeve. If you're going to do redos, don't change facts that are already there. So, that's my thoughts on redos of movies and television shows. I don't think I'll spend the nearly $10 for CBS Access so I can watch the rest of the Star Trek Discovery series. I just don't see it. Because it's missing something. That's all I'm going to say. If those of you who didn't get to see it, I'm just going to say that this is my opinion, that it's off to me. Like, something's missing. It doesn't have that Star Trek quality that I was looking for in it. Also, my Sims videos, I'm not getting a whole lot of views, but you know what? So what? I knew that was going to happen. I'm having fun with it anyway. So I thought I'd do that early, this blog video, because I'm going to be busy. I'm also going to put a link in here so you guys can follow the blog that I wrote about the same topic. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to know, just send it to me. Let me know, but make sure it's appropriate. So I thought I'd let you guys know all of that about how I feel about redones of movies, television shows. Like I said, certain things, if you're going to do it right. Don't do it wrong where the fans are sorely disappointed and say, I want my hour back. I want my 2 hours back. So, I think that's basically it. I will chat again next time. Hopefully, I will do some of my Sims soon. I think that's basically it. Take care now. Bye.